Because of the pandemic, many parents of incoming kindergarten students may have chosen to delay their child's enrollment last year to avoid starting their academic career on Zoom classrooms and possible quarantines. This year they face a similar dilemma. So how do parents and caregivers know if their child is truly ready for kindergarten? Alison Bogle with Austin Family Magazine joins us with some advice on making this decision. Good morning, Alison. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. I was reading a few articles, and there is one in the New York Times that says tens of thousands of 6-year-olds will begin their kindergarten or first grade experience having missed out on traditional academic learning. I hadn't thought about how important it is to really think about these kids being ready and what they're going through.
Right, and this is a age-old thing that parents struggle with anyway, is my child ready for kindergarten? But I feel like it's made even more big to all of us right now with the year that our kids have just been through, that we've all been through.
You've laid out some tools for us, for parents and caregivers to see. Number one, signs of academic readiness.
Yeah, so you want to look and see if your child can recognize many of their letters, both uppercase and lower, and they should know their numbers 1 to 10. You also want to see that they know their basic colors, certainly all the primary and secondary colors, and the basic shapes. So we don't need a parallelogram, but we're talking the squares, circles, rectangles. You also want to see that your child is showing an interest in learning. So if they learn about a concept that's new to them, they're curious and they're asking questions. Also, how well do they follow simple directions? Like if you're saying, please put your shoes in the closet or put your books on the shelf, you see that your child can follow those simple directions like there might be in the kindergarten classroom. You're looking for them to complete tasks, even if it's not enjoyable, because again, everything they're going to do at school is not going to be the thing they want to do. It's a class of many children. So can they stick in there and finish what they're supposed to do, even if it's not the most exciting thing for them? And then finally, you really want to assess their fine motor skills. So that looks like, can they grip a pencil? Can they button a button on their pants or their jacket? How well can they trace shapes, and can they write their name? And it doesn't have to be beautiful, but you do want to see that they have those fine motor skills developing. So
we've talked about academic readiness. Now let's look at signs of emotional readiness.
Right, and that's just as important for these little ones. So the first thing you want to think about is, how do they handle separation? So we're talking about really young children here, and so it's very normal if your child still cries from time to time if they have to separate from you. But if they're struggling at almost every separation, it might be a sign that they're not ready for the kindergarten classroom just yet. You also want to see that they can self-advocate. So what do they do when they need help or they don't understand something? Can they ask for help? Also, how do they play with others? You want to see that they can make friends and that they can cooperate both one-on-one and in small groups. You also want to look at how they're handling their impulses and their emotions. So kids of this age are giant emotions. That's practically what they are. But how well do they gather themselves after having a big upset? And if they're mad, can they stop themselves from grabbing or hitting? Those are important in the classroom. And then finally, how well do they follow rules? And you can assess that by looking at how they follow rules in preschool or maybe at church or at the library.
Well, what happens if my child doesn't show some of these signs or any sign?
Well, the first thing I want to tell parents is don't fret. So children develop at different rates. So as long as your child is showing many of these signs, it's probably okay. If they're missing most of these signs, that's when you might be concerned about starting too early. So you can work on those skills that are lagging. A little practice writing the name or buttoning and unbuttoning buttons can go a long way towards building competency to start kindergarten strong. And of course, you know, school is about to start, but these are things that you can continue to work on in those first weeks as they're really just working on classroom management. And then you can also check with your child's preschool teacher, because they really know how your child is in the classroom and can make a recommendation. And then finally, parents know their children best, so you can trust your gut. As long as you're making the decision based on your child's developmental readiness and not your own fears or sense of loss, then you should go with your instincts. Parents often know best.
Yeah, there's a lot to take in here, but our viewers can find the entire list and with a little more information on your website, austinfamily.com. The article is titled, "Is Your Child Kindergarten Ready?" Alison, always great talking to you. Thank you.
Great to talk to you too.